This is going to be a somewhat short video, possibly, that got me thinking about the Roman Empire. Well, it turns out that I was subbing Spanish the other day, and a student out of the blue asked me how often I think of the Roman Empire. I thought that was kind of an odd question at the time. We were in Spanish, which is a Romance language. Spain was a colony of Rome, basically. And I think, well, maybe that's where she's thinking. But no, this was a TikTok thing, and I wasn't aware of it. But it was it's a pretty big thing going on in the TikTok and viral world out there. I looked it up, and sure enough, a lot of people find out that guys are thinking about the Roman Empire a lot. I'm no different. Actually, I probably think about it more than above average because I think about the Roman Empire more than once a day. Oh, there's days I don't. Um, but I think ever since you asked me that question, I don't think I've not stopped thinking about the Roman Empire several times a day. But there's a lot of reasons to it. Rome is really intrinsic in our lives in so many different levels. The books I read. I finished The Ghost of Vesuvius a couple of years ago, but I gave a book swap. Well, my daughter and I do a book swap. She gave me one on Patagonia, and I gave her this one to read, The Ghost of Vesuvius, because it was one of my favorite books. I've always been interested in volcanoes and Pliny the Elder and so on. And this is you know a reminder of the Roman Empire. The book Salt, which I finished last year, really enjoyed that book. It talks about the Roman salt trade, which was massively huge. And whenever I think of Salzburg in Austria, I think of salt, and of course my brain triggers the Roman Empire again. Even when we were in, my son and I were in Poland, outside of Krakow, there's a famous salt mines there. I didn't go to it. There's too many stairs. But I got to thinking of the salt trade again and back to the Roman Empire. So many things trigger my brain on the Roman Empire. And if you look around, there's going to be things in your house or places that you go that'll trigger that as well. In my house, well, right across my desk where I'm sitting right now, I have three bookshelves here, and I have several books that trigger my brain to think about the Roman Empire. I have Polonius. I haven't pulled out some of these books in a while. Cicero, Marcus Aurelius. There's a whole bunch of books on the Roman writers. I have a big old book on Hannibal. I was always interested in the Punic Wars. Well, my adult life. As a kid, I wasn't even hardly aware of them. And over here, I have Casca, the Eternal Mercenary, written by Barry Sadler, the guy who wrote the Ballad of the Green Beret. He was killed in Mexico, which now I'm thinking about Mexico because I'm going there. So my son-in-law is supposed to keep us safe, so we'll see how that goes. And he's from he's Mexican, and he doesn't know this area we're going to. He just said we're going to stay off a certain road, stay on the toll road, stuff like that. We should be fine. Won't get one of those unexpected extortion stops. But I have several books in here that trigger my brain on the Roman Empire. Some of my favorite old books that I collect deal with the Roman Empire, like here, The History of the Roman Literature by Dunlop. This book is just turned 200 years old, actually. And I have several other books that are antiquarian, you would call them, I guess, that deal with Latin and Roman Empire, written in Latin or something like that. But in mathematics, a lot of the words we use are Latin based. Calculus, the Romans would use the word calculate for small stones on how they would count things. And that's where we derive our word calculus from. Now, some of these words were stolen from other places, like sine, cosine, originated out of India and got Latinized, but they still, think about, the Roman influence. And when I ever think of some geometry things, when I think of Archimedes, a sphere, and some of the things that he did. The Battle of Syracuse pops into mind, the Punic Wars, and that triggers the Roman Empire. So many things trigger my brain. Watching movies. There's so many movies. I just watched The Expendables 3 just a couple of days ago. I enjoyed that series. The first one was really good. Second one so-so, but the third one was pretty bloody but very good. And filmed in Naples. Well, I'm going back to Vesuvius again because the rescue operation was based out of Naples. Not very much of a rescue. For Pliny the Elder, I think. Fortune favors the bold or something like that. Didn't go too well. I think he was killed by a rock. Um, so when I see movies like this, I think of the Roman Empire. We were in Cologne. My son and I were in Cologne. We stopped by there on the way to the Netherlands. And I took this picture of the Roman ruins there. Cologne is actually Colonia. It's a Roman colony. That's how it got its name from Agrippina. And we have our own architecture all throughout the United States that reminds us of, the Roman columns, which were inspired by Greeks as well. So, and my hometown of Diana, Texas, where I grew up, is named after the Roman goddess. But there are so many places throughout the United States that have classical names. So very often when I think of Greek, I think of Roman. I mean, think of the Iliad and the Aeneid. Romulus and Remus were a product of that. Cincinnati, one of the more bigger towns in America, named after Roman in general. But we have numerous towns and several Romes. There's a Rome, Texas. Rome, Georgia is the more famous one probably, I think, possibly. Well, all right. So there's a whole bunch. So yeah, I'm always thinking of the Roman Empire on a frequent basis. And since they asked me that TikTok question, I think I'm going to be thinking on it more, to tell you the truth. Well, anyway, that's my answer. So y'all take care, and I'll get this uploaded here shortly.